This is the hardcore community. Sorta. You want to hear the music?
Yo! What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Marked for Life. My name is Devin, and I'm going to be bringing you hardcore from across the genre and around the world. And I'm only playing shit that came out in 2018 or after, because hardcore right now is fucking sick. Marked for Life is a hardcore radio show done in the tradition of the great 80s and 90s college and community hardcore radio shows, which a lot of people grew up with, including me. And it was their way to find out about what was happening in hardcore at the moment. So that's what I try to do here with Marked for Life during the pandemic, where bands aren't able to tour in this digital age where we hear about a band and instantly forget about them as the next band and the next band and the next release comes out, and we lose track of what's what. And oftentimes we miss the bands that we might truly love. So every 2 weeks, I'm bringing you 10 fresh bands and 10 fresh tracks, and I'm also playing your requests. I will explain how to make a request at the end of the show. If you want to support Marked for Life, which I appreciate, of course, subscribe, and you can also follow Marked for Life HC on Instagram. And there, I'll be posting about all the bands I play on this episode, as well as all the bands I've played on the episodes before.
Oh, yeah.
Hardcore is back. And it has been awesome to both go to shows and see shows popping up and popping off all over the country and the world. But something that happens is that scenes in major US cities get most of the attention. So something that I'm going to start to do on every episode of Marked for Life, by the way, if you hear that horn honking, I have some news. I have always been broadcasting from the great city of Philadelphia. That's where all my best friends are, one of the greatest hardcore scenes in the country, and where my heart will always be. But now I'm coming at you out of Queens, New York, baby! Back to what I was saying. So, something that happens is that while all the major cities are getting attention for the incredible shows and incredible bands that they're churning out, some of the smaller scenes are getting lost in the shuffle, and we're not hearing about them. But I know I personally am really curious what bands are coming out, what the shows are like, and I want to hear from someone there what's going on. So we're going to start doing scene reports, and we're starting first with Fort Worth, Texas.
This is Ty from the hardcore band Ozone from Fort Worth, Texas, and this is a scene report for the Marked for Life podcast, Sick Shit Only. It's August, and shows are fully back. They've been going on for a couple months here in Fort Worth, Dallas. I've been to probably 3 or 4 shows myself. Every single one was packed to the brim. There was people going off, going crazy, tons of energy. I'm seeing a lot of new faces, people I've never seen before, a lot of young kids coming out. Ozone played our first show at a pizza shop in the basement about a week ago, and it was absolutely packed from wall to wall. People were going off, going crazy. It makes me really stoked to see like what will happen next with the band. We also played a show in Chicago and St. Louis that were also packed, which was really nice. I appreciate everyone who helped out with those shows. The coolest thing I've noticed with shows coming back is that the crowd seem to be super diverse. Punk, metal, hardcore are all kind of at the same shows. Everyone's doing their thing and being like mostly respectful, which is really awesome. I want to shout out Holy Order, Character Assassin, Feral Cry, Creeping Death, Burning, Frozen Soul, Combat, Clear Acid, Trauma Ray, Barricade, Gagging Order, Think Twice, Kinky Bastards, Monument of Fear, Deep Incision, Urn, Imperial Slaughter, and Neuromania. Also shout out to Corruption Records and New Morality Zine, as well as Road Soda. Ozone will have a 2-song flexi coming out on Corruption Records before the year is up, so be on the lookout for that. Shout out to Mark for Life, Riley and Wade Forever, 817.
Thank you, Ty, and thank you, Ozone, for this update from Fort Worth, Texas. I was really looking forward to seeing videos from Ozone's first show. If you have listened to Marked for Life for a while, you will have heard Ozone on episode 3. If not, If you haven't heard the previous episodes, there are 11 episodes before this and God, like 130 hardcore bands to check out. So you should definitely go back and get a full ass catalog of sick modern hardcore to listen to, which includes Ozone. I saw videos of that first show at the pizza shop. It looked awesome. It was one of those shows where I was like, fuck, I wish I could have been there. Really excited to see what those dudes do in the future. That said, let's kick this shit off. But this time we're going to start things a little different. We're starting with a request that isn't a request. I got this incredible voice message from Derek in New Orleans, and in it, Derek says, I don't really have a request. I've been stuck in a loop of nostalgia, but now I'm realizing there's so much sick shit happening in hardcore. True. Derek also laments the breaking up of various vegan straight edge bands through time and challenging that feeling that a lot of people have that maybe hardcore died in the 90s. And I find this especially in people who really like political hardcore because that was a hyper political time. And we haven't really had an era like that since, though we have had bands that carry that torch. So this is for Derek. This is a modern vegan band, complete earth crisis, forged in the flames worship. This is Vanguard from Texas with the song To Suffer off their EP Rage of Deliverance that came out last July on New Age Records. And you can see Vanguard's first show at Promcore this October in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Bands like Vanguard are so important. Hardcore always needs to have political bands. Not only is it part of our culture and practically our heritage at this point, which is kind of crazy to think about, but something that's so unique about our scene is how transformative hardcore is in every aspect of our lives. And one of the biggest driving factors behind that are the lyrics. And sometimes songs just inspire you to have the strength and courage to smash your enemies or to draw a line in the sand, which is awesome. But it's also so sick to be in a music culture that churns out progressive and radical ideas that change how we live our lives and through us change the world. And here I'm referencing the vegan straight edge movement of the 90s. And there is a clear line that you can trace from vegan straight edge and hardcore in the 90s and its effects on the animal rights movement to the mainstreaming of veganism, as well as global changes in animal welfare policies today. And sometimes with political bands, you just think they're sick and the message doesn't speak to you. And sometimes with political bands or vegan bands, the message doesn't hit you the first time or the second or even the 30th. And then one day you're just casually listening and you're like, oh my God, the world is so fucked. I've got to do something. Or maybe it's just a cool band to mosh to. Either way, Vanguard fucking rules. Vanguard, To Suffer.
King Lear, late at night on the cliffs, asks the blind Earl of Gloucester, how do you see the world? And the blind man Gloucester replies, I see it feelingly. And shouldn't we all? Animals must be off the menu because tonight they are screaming in terror in the slaughterhouses, in crates and in cages. Vile, ignoble gulags of despair. You see, I heard the screams of my dying father as his body was ravaged by the cancer that killed him. And I realized I'd heard those screams before. In the slaughterhouse, their eyes stabbed out and their tendons slashed on the cattle ships to the Middle East, and the dying mother wail as a harpoon explodes in her brain as she calls out to her calf. Their cries were the cries of my father. And I discovered that when we suffer as equals. And in their capacity to suffer, a dog is a pig, is a bear, is a boy.
That was Fantasy World from Detroit with a self-titled track off their demo, Rules of the Game. Rules of the Game dropped on July 12th, and Fantasy World features members of Freedom, True Love, and Neverending Game. And this demo, you can tell from this track, but this demo is just so good. And to me, it's one of those demos when you hear it, you're like, why do I even try to write music? Why be in a band when bands like this are coming out? I don't know anything else about it. Will Fantasy World be doing tours? Will they play one-off shows? Are they a festival band? Who knows? Before that was New Jersey's School Drugs with the song Plastic Promise. That's off their new 7-inch Visitation that just came out on Indecision Records July 23rd. This 7-inch is the first of 4 7-inches that will ultimately be collected into a full-length LP called Funeral Arrangements. That's a really cool concept. I got to see School Drugs once in a coffee shop in Philly where there are shows sometimes. I had never heard of them before, and they're one of those bands where you're like, oh, what's this? Whoa, what the fuck? Like, really incredible live band and insane energy. If you ever get a chance to see them, highly recommend. Next up, I'm going to play 2 songs off of a split that just came out on July 30th. This is the Combined Forces split featuring Endgame from Calgary, Canada, and Living in Fear from Atlanta, Georgia. This is a split of riffs. You may be familiar with Spencer from Endgame. He does Scoped Exposure podcast. If you haven't checked out Scoped Exposure, you really should. Spencer has in-depth conversations with lots of new and up-and-coming hardcore bands from all over the world, and also posts footage from shows that he goes to, which is really cool to see. And I found out about a lot of bands through Scoped. But back to the split. If you're unfamiliar with Endgame, Endgame has a heavy video game vibe. When I asked Spencer to tell me about the split, he gave me incredible amounts of information about how this relates to video games, from the song names to the amounts of seconds in a song. It was mind-blowing. I'm not into video games myself, but I do appreciate the attention to detail, the passion, and just going in on what you love. And Living in Fear, you've heard before on Marked for Life. They are a sick crossover band coming at you out of the South. So if you like these songs, pick up the split on KOTP Records. It's available on tape and CD. There's a possibility of vinyl. If vinyl is something you're interested in, let the bands know. All right, Endgame, Playin for keeps.
wanted everybody to know that things were changed around here. We had to make an example of these pricks, that the party was over.
That is some perfect power violence. That was Only the Last Song from Kashiwa, Japan, with the song Set on Fire off their full-length I that dropped in July on Toy Gun Records. Only the Last Song has been around for 9 years, and they share members with Blindside, Soul Charge, and Shapeshifter. I found out about Only the Last Song from Unite Asia, which is run by Riz from King Lychee, Regret, and Dagger from Hong Kong. If you haven't checked out Unite Asia, it's a website, it's an Instagram, it's a community. But seriously, Riz is awesome at endlessly promoting all of underground music that's coming out from all over Asia, including hardcore, metal, indie, whatever. He just started doing a Unite Asia playlist, which you can find on Spotify, which is tons and tons and tons of bands from all over Asia. Super fucking cool, and you'll find out about so much sick stuff from countries that I think those of us in the West would not expect to be hearing things from. So thank you, Riz, for all that you do. Before Only the Last Song was Living in Fear with the Level 6 Dimension. That is one of their tracks off the split with Endgame, titled Combined Forces. Living in Fear is serving up some serious fucking dive bombs. I don't know about you, I need dive bombs to live. I need air, water, food, dive bombs. Thank you. Next up is some straight edge hardcore coming at you out of Seattle. The song is called Still. The band is Change, and this is off their LP Closer Still, which came out in September of 2020 on React Records in the US, Refuse Records in Europe, and Life Layer Regret Records in Australia. I was reading an interview recently with Change about this LP, and they said that this whole LP is about coping with loss and anxiety and depression and trying to make the changes that you need to find a better path. And if you want to hear a really great interview with Change talking about this, check out their interview with Your Life in America. That is a hardcore radio show that comes out of Santa Barbara, California, actually broadcast on the radio, and very, very cool. And I will post up a link to that interview sometime in the next week. This is Change with Still. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Somewhere in a forbidden section of the Tesla robot factory.
Ralph, we cannot have a robot bowling team without our own shirts.
Yes, that computes. The humans will reject us.
Especially since we can roll a perfect game at will.
We are the best bowlers.
We are the best bowlers. We are the best bowlers. But the shirts. I have no extant data on this matter.
You toaster. Everyone knows that the finest human garb is printed at soaked in ink.
Soaked in ink. Soaked in ink.
Signs us all proud. You are here because the outside world rejects you. This is your family.
Hello, Marked for Life, specializing in sick shit only. Davin speaking, how can I help you?
Yo, Davin, this is Ruben from Las Vegas, Nevada, repping that Las Vegas hardcore. We got a band out here, just dropped a new EP called Close Combat. Their new EP is called New Leash on Life. I think it's super fucking sick. Everyone in this band does really dope shit they put on for Las Vegas hardcore, and I really think more people out there throughout the States or throughout the world should definitely check them out. Check them out, Close Combat. The intro is it's fucking sick. I hope you guys like it as much as I do, because they're fucking sick.
Yo, I was feeling that. Thanks for the request, dude. Before Close Combat was a brand new band from Philly called Newaza with the track Warriors Up Front. That's off their demo 21, which you can check out on their Bandcamp. And that just came out on July 10th. That is another demo that I was like, damn, this is so good. Where do you go from that song? Like, what's the EP gonna be? What's the full length? I can't handle this shit. Calm down, Newaza. But for real, that's fucking great. And also a Ninja Turtle sample, like, yes. And before Newaza, again, was Change with the song Still. Next up is Iced from Eugene, Oregon with the track I Claimed My Body from their EP Don't Mean Shit. That came out in early 2019, and if you like it, go to their Bandcamp and buy it because all money from the EP goes to sexual assault support services. Iced. I Claimed My Body. That was Exterminating Angel from Budapest, Hungary, with the song Torche the Western Earth off their full-length Times of Reason Cast Aside, which came out in October of 2019. Usually I'm sad when we come to this point of the show because this is the last song, but I am super excited because I have been wanting and trying to play this song since Marked for Life episode 1, and for one reason or another, I always have to take it off and play something else. And this time I was like, I am fucking playing the song Survival by Diztort from California off their LP Hellas, which dropped in 2018 on Advanced Perspective, this fucking episode, or I swear to God I'm done with the show. So I present to you Diztort Survival.
It has always haunted me. To those who discounted the Siberia sounds from Hell's story, it is true, and I, for one, wish it wasn't. Rick, listening from Chicago. And so I submit now the cleaned, a better copy to you, and I warn you, what you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
All right, motherfuckers, that's it. The show is over. Thank you, as always, for tuning in to Marked for Life, and I will be back in 2 weeks with 10 more tracks and 10 more songs, and I'm also playing your requests. If you want to send in a request to Marked for Life, send me a voice note on Instagram, MarkedForLifeHC, and say your name, where you're from, what song you want, what band, maybe why. Shout out your friends or whoever if you want, and I will play your voice note and your request on the air. I am not an all-knowing or psychic person in hardcore, so I take submissions. If you have a band you want me to hear, your band, friend's band, whatever, shoot me a message. I check out everything. I have very limited space on the show. As you can tell, I've been trying to play Diztort since February, so please don't get your feelings hurt if I don't play your band. I feel really bad. A lot of people message me. I do listen to everything, and I often am like, oh my God, this is so good. But there's just not space, and I try to get a good cross-section of different types of hardcore. This episode, for example, I completely missed out on melodic. It's a very hard and delicate balance, people. It really is. So please don't take it personally. Make sure you check out all these bands, dig into their releases, order records, order merch, follow them on social media, and support in any way that you can. That is what this is all about. All right, see you in 2 weeks. Bye, suckers.
These kids call straight edge.
I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, I don't eat meat. I have the strength to do things that most people can't. They hate that.